Clogged TV.
Beyond the policy.
We're being the new of more day, you bet media camp, you think you're ninja. I want to back no Francia, the Kayanya party, or swim up will be a dinner hop, was to the next year. I couldn't independent who I watch the one. Gloria, a doctor for me and what boy, honorable minister, what boy, I was a party, a cat to the nibble. Yet now, I'm away at the end, yet now, also actually, the mammy, a grandma, so I crack myself as I'm a forward see die. Trim, sunshine, it's so swat, I'm an upper best part. 217.
That was a road safety campaign by our very own Obo, and I'm sure the Gen Zs don't even know the song anymore. But yes, that was a very, very good song he put out there. It encouraged people to take care when driving, and I'm really glad we put that up. So yes, you're welcome back to the KOKO Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the KOKO Digest Morning Show, and we're about to have our main discussion, and this is going to be on road safety. So this is about the consequences of road traffic accidents and the roles of the stakeholders involved. So I have 3 guests, and 2 will be here with me in the studio, and 1 would be a phone-in. And the first guest is here. He's in the person of Mr. Felix Owusu. He is the planning manager of the National Road Safety Authority in the Greater Accra region. Our second guest is also Mr. Daniel Asari. We will be interacting with him a little later in the show. He is the Principal Advanced Emergency Medical Technologist and also doubles as the Regional Director of the National Ambulance Service of the Greater Accra region, and then also triples as the lecturer in Paramedics and Emergency Care Training School in Nkinkan, so in the Ashanti region. Then our third guest who will be joining us via phone-in is the Divisional Officer Grade 2 and he's the Head of Public Relations at the Ghana National Fire Service, in the person of Mr. Desmond Aka. So we're going to have 1 person from the National Ambulance Service, 1 person from the Ghana National Fire Service, and 1 person from the National Road Safety Authority. So yes, we have our Road Safety Authority here, a rep from there. He is Mr. Felix Owusu. So let's get acquainted with him. But before that, don't forget to send in your comments to our WhatsApp number displayed on your screen, and also onto our YouTube and Facebook live stream. We will read them aloud. Send in your comments, send your questions, and later in the show the phone lines will be open so you can call rather than calling the WhatsApp number displayed on your screen. It's a different number for calling, so please take note. So Mr. Felix Owusu, thank you for joining us here once again.
Thank you. So good morning to you, Yaira.
Yes, good morning to you.
And then, of course, good morning to cherished viewers out there. In fact, let me also say a very good morning to our own Acting Director General, Engineer David Osafo-Adonting, and then my own Regional Director, Madam Catherine Hamilton, all my colleagues at the National Road Safety Authority.
So we are getting close to elections. Each day draws us near. I think we are just about a month away.
Yes. Some few days.
And we know how people behave during the election. Okay, wait. I have a question before that. Yes, Obuo's campaign about road accidents during my time when we were younger, it seemed as though there was some sort of attention put on that, even by our celebrities. Is that something that, if you are a celebrity or anybody at all who wants to develop a campaign to create awareness, is that something that you need to liaise with the NRSA before you can embark on that?
Yes, so very well. Now, the National Road Safety Authority, so just to answer you, yes. So before, the National Road Safety Authority is saying before you do any road safety or embark on any road safety education or campaign, of course, you need to liaise with the National Road Safety Authority, because the authority has to be in the known and know the content of whatever information you want to put out there, whether it's in line with that of the National Road Safety Authority. Yes, so that we also provide some form of guidance to you.
Okay. So would you say that there's a little bit of a decline in that from comparing the time Obuo put up this song in the campaign with now?
Yes, so I would say yes, because, and yes and no. I would say there are also a good number of people out there who are also doing similar campaigns through their songs, but just that maybe probably the media is also not pushing those songs. That is why maybe we are not hearing. But I know of one black man who over the years has been coming up good songs, but we hardly hear those songs on a media space. So please, I think that's a way of we also helping to push the road safety information or education to the public. Because as we always say, the media, we cannot take the media out when it comes to education of our public. And so the media should also help us to push some of these campaign messages when they come out.
But you know, this song was really popular back then, and I'm sure even as our viewers have watched it, they just remembered quickly. I'm sure some people were even singing along. What makes that so different from now? Because even now, if there are any campaign songs, I don't think I even remember them. What is causing it not to have that form of longevity, if I may ask?
Yeah, so I think with the both songs, it has the rhythm and then the...
Okay, so it's just the technical...
Yes, and then
okay.
the way he coins his messages, they are very catchy and easy to remember and sing along. That's why I'm sure most of us still remember, and we still even use those songs.
Yeah.
And there's even one other popular song by Drivers. I mean, it's a local song, and there's a station around Circle where almost every time they are playing that particular song, and it's a very a good song that I know some of the media houses also play during discussions like this.
Okay, so quickly then, before I even start asking about accidents, can you tell us a little bit about the National Road Safety Authority?
Well, thank you. So the National Road Safety Authority, and just before 2019, we were a commission. Yeah, so we became an authority somewhere in 2019.
Okay, so what's the difference?
Yeah, so as a commission, our role was basically or more or less like advisory. So we didn't have any enforcement powers. But when we became an authority, now we're given an additional mandate to be able to now enforce some road safety guidelines and then standards with regards to road safety. So that is basically the difference. Okay. So additional mandates added to the already existing one. So
in becoming an authority, what are some of the steps you've taken in light of becoming an authority?
Okay, so to even add to the first question you asked, now the National Road Safety Authority is a government agency, and then we are the lead agency when it comes to road safety management in the country. Okay. But it doesn't mean we are the only agency or institution responsible for road safety management. So there are other stakeholders. Okay. So we have the DVLA, the police, MTCD, and we also have the road agencies, water highways, urban roads, the feeder roads, the media also play a key role, and then even the road users ourselves. Okay. And you also even have the traditional leaders and even the churches and all those. We all have a stake to play when it comes to road safety. Just that the National Road Safety Authority is the lead agency when it comes to road safety management. The assemblies, everyone, we're all involved. Okay.
So, since you said when you were commissioned, your roles were more advisory, and becoming an authority, it's more enforcement. So, what are some of the laws or regulations you've enforced since you became an authority?
Okay, so even before that, now the National Road Safety Authority. So, what we do is we exist to help reduce the incidence of road traffic crashes. What you call accidents. Okay. Now, I explain why we don't say accident by crashes. Yeah, so we exist to help reduce the incidence of road traffic crashes, injuries, and deaths in the country. And we do that through a number of interventions. Okay. So one of them is education. We also have what we call the 4E. So there is education, there is engineering, there is enforcement, and then the emergency response aspect of road safety. So with education, for National Road Safety Authority, either we are using the traditional media, so the TV, television, radio, even the print media, and even social media pages. Sometimes we also do the face-to-face education. We go to terminals, we go to schools, churches, mosques, community to do road safety education. Then with the enforcement bit. Now, the National Road Safety Authority, our kind of enforcement is different from that of the police. Okay, so ordinarily you see the police on the road every day trying to enforce the road traffic regulations and then act on the road. But ours is institutional compliance. Okay. So, so let's take, I'm just using an institution as an example. So let's say GPRTU as a union. If a member of GPRTU as a driver maybe misbehaves on the road or commits an offense on the road, the police officer, MTT, will arrest that driver and take that particular driver to court. Okay. And if he's found guilty, then he's either given a sentence by way of a fine or imprisonment, or both. But the National Road Safety Authority, ours is different in the sense that if a driver of GPRTU is found doing something contrary to our principles, guidelines. We deal with the whole union,
Okay.
not
The
the individual. That is why ours is an institutional
Okay.
compliance. So ours is to always make sure that the institutions are instilling best practices in their members so that when they get out there, they behave well on our routes to help reduce. So we are even empowering the institutions to, or whether it's a company or institutions, to take care of their own drivers, that when they come to the road, they behave well. And that will even help reduce the work that we do on our roads.
Okay.
So that is it with the enforcement. Now with the engineering, now the National Road Safety Authority, we do not construct roads. So when we say engineering, what we mean by engineering is that we have road safety inspectors.
Okay.
So what they do is, as part of their work, periodically, they also go on inspections. And so if there's any defects that they come up on the road, whether it's a pothole, a road line marking that is faded or not even existent, there's road signs and traffic lights, then we report to those responsible. Okay, so if it's like urban roads, then we report to urban roads. If it's highways, we go to highway. If it's on the feeder road, then it goes to feeder road for them to fix. But the national roads, we don't fix those things ourselves. So that is it with the engineering. And then with the emergency response, emergency is when there's been a crash. When there's a crash, then the National Road Safety Authority, we liaise with that or collaborate with that other stakeholders, whether the ambulance, even the MTTD and other stakeholders, to sometimes either transport some of the injured to the hospital. Sometimes we also do follow-ups to check on them whether how they are faring in the hospitals, and even give them some words of encouragement and all that. Sometimes, unfortunately, we also help carry dead bodies, and that is unfortunate. But then, so these are all through this four E's that I've mentioned, we are able to help reduce road traffic crashes, injuries, and fatalities in the country.
Okay. So with the upcoming elections, we know that, emotions and things are all heightened at this point. And can the National Road Safety Authority give us a sort of percentage of the risk Ghanaians are at with regards to road crashes because of how people tend to behave when, the elections winner is declared and all?
Well, currently, I do not have the numbers in terms of percentages, but what we know, or the little research we've done, is comparing election years as to the non-election periods. We've seen that the road traffic crashes and its resultant injuries and deaths always increase during election periods.
Yes.
Yes, so from 2020, so 2000, 2004, 8, 2012, 16, 2020. So you see that all those years, those election years, the figures are higher than the years before.
So based on that, are you able to make predictions?
Yes, so the only prediction we can make is, so for example, last year, we recorded as many as 2,200 fatalities in the country. In fact, this year we're hoping to record lower than 2,000. But as I speak, from January to September alone, we have recorded so far 1,817 deaths so far. And this should tell you that the last 3 months remaining, the figures will be, in fact, the figures that will come from this last thing, when you add to the already 1,870, it will be higher than what's recorded last year. So that should clearly tell us that that should confirm that during election periods, and of course also getting to the Christmas period, we have a lot of, for the past 1 month or so, almost every day, we are always recording crashes and then fatalities on our roads, and which is very sad.
So with that, does the NRC take some initiatives, especially during the election years, to do some advocacy and education, try to get people to adhere to the rules?
Yeah, so for National Road Safety Authority, that is what we do. We do that every day, every time, not only, but I must admit, during those periods, we heighten our kind of enforcement education to the general public, and also collaborating with the other stakeholders to do some of these things. So we don't do this in isolation. We always work together with our stakeholders.
Okay. So now let's go. What are some of the common causes of the road traffic accidents here in Accra?
All right. So, like I said, in fact, let's get a difference. There's a difference between an accident and a crash.
Okay.
Okay. So, so an accident is something, an unplanned event that results in either damage to whether property, life. Okay, it's an unplanned event. You don't plan for it, and it happens. But then when you say a crash, we see a crash because it's as a result of something, some human effort that resulted in there. So most of what we see on our roads is not an accident, it's a crash. Okay, so typically, let's say if you say an accident, let's say you are driving and all of a sudden a tree falls and you run into. So that may be an accident. Okay. So, and you've had such instances where during the rainy season you hear, a tree falls on a vehicle, and that is an accident, purely an accident. But most of what we see on our roads, if you are excessively speeding and you run, you crash, that cannot be considered as an accident. Okay. Yeah, so please let's get the difference. So most of what we see on our roads are clearly as a result of, it's a road traffic crash. Okay. And not an accident. Now, so when we are looking at the causes of road traffic crashes, basically we can have three main causes of road traffic crashes. And one of them, we say the human error or human error factor. Now, the second one, we can talk about the mechanical errors or mechanical failures. Then the third one is the road conditions or even weather, road or weather conditions. But also per research, we can say that between or more than 90% of all the crashes happening on our roads, not only in Accra or in Ghana, in fact over the world, are as a result of the human error factor. And even with the other mechanical and even road, you can have some kind of human contribution, human factor. Because if it's a vehicle, let's say the vehicles do not walk to the mechanic shop to maintain itself. So if your vehicle is in a bad state, you as a human being, you have to take that step to take the vehicle too. So even though the other two, we are talking about mechanical and then the road, the human beings also have some factor there. Okay. Now, when we talk about human errors, I do not quickly jump to the behavior of drivers or other road users. I even start with the institutions. Okay, so there are institutions responsible for, like I mentioned, road safety management in the country, which the National Road Safety Authority, we are one of them. So I'll start with the National Road Safety Authority. So as one of our mandates or our functions, we are supposed to educate the public. So I always cite this example. We work from Monday to Friday. So if a church should invite me to their service to come and educate their members on a Sunday, and I tell them, I don't work on Sunday, so Sunday I'm not coming. Now, let's take this scenario. I don't go to the church to do the education. So the members, basically, or most of them who are pedestrians, so the next day on a Monday morning, very busy road, and a member of the church who is crossing the road, and is not, because I didn't go there to give the education, the person is crossing the road, and the person do not know how to safely cross the road, and they cross the road at unauthorized place, and the person gets knocked down by a vehicle, and the person dies. Who is the cause? So that's what I'm saying. So we also have a role to play. Yeah. So at the National Road Safety Authority, what I'm basically saying is, if we are also not doing our work well, then it's adding up to the human error aspect. Now, let's also go to DVLA. Now, the DVLA in Ghana here, they are also mandated to, through their accredited agencies, also issue licenses. I mean, they do the training for drivers, riders, and then when they pass, then they give them that license to operate or to drive on our roads. And when they do all those things, it is reducing the risks on our road. In the same way, we take our vehicles there for them to check the roadworthiness of the vehicle. So when they pass, then they give them that certificate. So when you have that certificate, it means that your vehicle is fit to be on it. But then sometimes let's see the vehicles that we see on our roads. Some of them, physically, you can determine that this vehicle is not. Meanwhile, they still bear the roadworthy certificate. So you ask yourself, how did they get all those things? So that's what I'm saying. I mean, so when you mention the human errors, in fact, the institutions are part. Before now we come to the individual acts, which is the speeding on our roads, the use of mobile phones.
We will come back to that really shortly. We are taking a quick break. When we come back, we will be opening the phone lines for you to call in and ask your questions, and then also we will be engaging our rep from the ambulance service as well. So we will be right back. You're welcome back to the KOKO Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the KOKO Digest Morning Show, and we're having our main discussion. We're talking about road safety, the consequence of road accidents. So it's not accidents anymore, they are crashes. So let's keep that in mind. Let's take note. And then the role of the stakeholders involved. And I have 3 guests, and 2 are here in the studio with us, and one of them is a rep from the National Road Safety Authority in the person of Mr. Felix Owusu. He's the planning manager of the National Road Safety Authority in the Greater Accra region. And then we also have Mr. Daniel Asare. He is the Principal Advanced Emergency Medical Technologist and the Regional Director of the National Ambulance Service of Greater Accra region, and also a lecturer in paramedics at the Paramedics Emergency Care Training School in Kinkanso in the Ashanti region. So yes, Mr. Daniel Asare is also here with us. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thank you, madam.
So we were talking about road safety, and with the NRC rep here, we were talking about the courses. So we will finish with that quickly, and then I think we want to know more about the ambulance service.
Okay.
So you were talking about the human error.
Yeah, so the human error, I haven't mentioned the institutional lapses. Then we come to the individual actions. So I mentioned first speed. Yeah, so speed is one of the causes of crashes on our roads here in Accra, Ghana, in the world. Now, so we have classification of roads, and then there are specific speed limits we are supposed to be driving. So typically on a urban road or built-up area, you cannot do more than 50 kilometers per hour. Okay. So then you also have our areas around schools, markets, churches, mosques. That should be 30 kilometers per hour, or even in a construction zone, 30 or even below. Then typically on a highway, you can be doing up to 90 kilometers per hour on a highway. Then in Ghana, it is only on the motorway that we're even permitted to do up to 100 kilometers. But now even the motorway, as we all know, is no more a motorway. So even with that one, we advise that when you get there, please use your senses and then drive according to the conditions you find yourself. So you have to drive below the 100 kilometers per hour. So that is one on speeding. Now there's also the distracted driving. Okay, and that one, I think almost everybody is a culprit. Now, I don't know whether it's a trending thing that has come, and everybody's doing it. You'll be driving in traffic, and then everybody's holding their phone, whether they're making phone calls, watching videos, texting, or whatever.
Some cars come with a screen, and you'll be playing music, and there's a video.
all those ones can lead to. So when you engage or you engage your eyes too much on the screen, that is also distracting you from, because we are saying that when you are driving, you have to concentrate on the road. Okay, you have to concentrate on the driving that you are doing, and do not be distracted by any other thing, not even the passengers in the vehicle, because all those things can lead to. So whether you are watching something outside the vehicle, in the vehicle, using your mobile phone. So the law, even regulation 107, talks about the use of telecommunication device whilst driving. Okay, so you are not even supposed to hold, use or operate. But the law makes exceptions to some services like the ambulance and the police. Some of them are they can use them because they are trained to, because they may be emergency cases. So for them, they can, but not when your girlfriend calls. That is not an emergency
Yes,
case.
this
So
one, it goes to the Uber driver.
yeah, so for any reason, if you are driving and you have a call and you need to, by all means, speak, then the law says that you have to pull over at a safe place. Then you receive your call. When you're done, then you take off and then you go. So please, let's all be guided. Now, apart from the distracted driving, also people taking in alcohol and drugs. Okay, and that is also another form of, or another causative factor to some of these crashes we see on our roads. And there are a number of them. Fatigue is also one of them. Driving tired.
Well, sometimes the traffic itself already makes you tired.
So that is unfortunately that is it. And even the law even permits that in a day, I mean, you cannot drive more than 8 hours in a day. You know, we have 24 hours, but so you can drive up to 8 hours maximum in a day. And after every 4 hours, you are supposed to take mandatory 30 minutes rest.
So the commercial drivers, like the church roads, are they able to adhere to this? Because they'll say they go by trips, how many trips they've embarked on.
Yes, so that is it. So if you're a commercial driver, in fact, it's not every. So it means you are supposed to take that rest, mandatory rest. So it's not you're not supposed to be driving throughout all the day and not resting. So that's why you have some of them running into whether the shoulders or somebody's property.
Yeah.
Most of them are tired, but instead of them to rest, they will not rest. They still want to. They say, it's left with small. Let me get to my destination. But if you're not lucky, you may not get to your destination.
Yeah. Okay. So
those are the few things with regards to the human error aspect. Then with the mechanical, as I mentioned, mechanical has to do with everything concerning the vehicle. So it may be your brakes, okay, your suspension and steering system, even your tires, okay, your lighting system too, even just common wipers.
Yeah.
In the rainy season, especially if your wipers are not good, because I've seen some taxi drivers during the rainy season, sometimes they have to stop and use their dusters on all those things. And so if you cannot see ahead of you, it can lead to also a crash. Then the last one, which has to do with the road or weather conditions. Because the roads are bad, we all know.
Yes,
those things
and the roads
also,
are bad.
Yes, those things can also. So we are pleading with all stakeholders to always, especially the institutions, to do their bit so that we help improve safety on our roads.
Okay.
Yes. We're also advising the road users to also behave well and be disciplined on our roads.
Yeah, okay. So coming to you, Mr. Daniel Asari, I mean, in Ghana here, we don't really hear much about ambulance. We see the ambulances, we all tend to judge them that they just want to skip traffic. But since you are here, I would like you to just educate us a little bit about the ambulance service here in Ghana.
Okay, thank you, madam. Good morning to your cherished viewers. And I bring you greetings from the National Ambulance Service with our Ebu CEO, Professor Ahmed Zakara, and the Ambulance Service Board, and all staff of the National Ambulance Service. So what I will say is National Ambulance Service is an agency under the Ministry of Health. We are 20 years now. We started operation in 2004.
Okay.
And what really brought about the establishment of the service was the Mainline Stadium disaster that happened at Accra Sports Stadium, where we lost 127 people on that fateful day. So the government at that time have to set a commission, and one of the recommendations was to have an emergency service so that when we have mass casualty incidents of that magnitude, we'll be able to have a standby ambulances to take care of all those cases. Because that incident, because there was no proper triaging that was done, people were just sent to the hospitals while they were unconscious and even put in the morgue while they were not dead, but they were unconscious because the hospital was overwhelmed with the number of casualties. So they couldn't sort out those who need immediate attention that should be done and those who have to be sent to the hospital. The medical team at the stadium was overwhelmed with the incident. So ambulance service started with about 7 pilot stations in Greater Accra, Eastern region and Ashanti region. But currently, we have a ambulance across the country, around 297 ambulance stations across. We started with a personnel of about 69, drawn from the Ghana National Service and other civilians. But now we can boast of a total strength of 3,400 across the country. We were not having any training school at the beginning. We were being trained at the Fire Academy training school. But currently, we have our training school in Kinken. So that's on your way to Akumadan. That's where we train all the emergency medical technicians that work with the ambulance service. So in 2022, the Parliament of Ghana passed the Ambulance Service Act, Act 1041. That mandates the service to take care of pre-hospital emergencies in Ghana. So that is our main. So we respond to road traffic incident, domestic cases, and also when they are having programs, maybe health work and other things, we are able to come and take those covers. All programs that comes, whether from the Parliament or Jubilee House, or international programs, the president that normally comes to Ghana, their convoy, ambulances follow them. And when they are done, they give report to the presidency that Ghana have a very robust EMS system. Though there are challenges, but as we proceed, we'll be able to delve into the issue. So our number is 112 if you want to reach the ambulance service. So basically, that's something small I can say about the ambulance service.
I think based on the movies we've been watching, you know, the Western movies, there's this thing about the ambulance service is paid for. So if maybe something happens here, one of the members of Clock TV is, you know, transported with an ambulance, the cost is factored in their medical bill. How true is that? Okay, so
basically we are an emergency service and we operate two services. We have the emergency services and non-emergency service. So for emergency service, like somebody suddenly collapse, need an ambulance immediately, road traffic accident, woman is in labor, pediatric cases and those ones. Once you call the services of the ambulance, you are not supposed to pay anything for it because those ones are emergencies and the government of Ghana provide fuel to respond to those emergencies. So that one you don't pay for because the person might be unconscious. So you cannot say the person should give you money before you transport. But when it comes to other emergencies, in terms of maybe you've gone to the hospital, you have been discharged, you are going home, that one you have to support us with the... And then also when you're having your program and you need the services of the ambulance, you come and park there from morning to the evening, you are going for health work, that one, there are charges that you are supposed to pay. Then also when you are going to do medical investigations like CT scan, MRI, those ones too. Sometimes you have to park the ambulance for so many hours. And that one too. And the prices are not arbitrary figures. It's based on the distance traveled and the fuel, the prevailing fuel per liter that we use across the country. And also sometimes we take some patients from a lower facility to a higher facility. Looking at the distance, those ones too, they are rates that you are supposed to pay for. Or when you go outside Accra, maybe you are done with your treatment, you are going to Kumasi, Tamale, and all those places. Or people that they bring them from outside Accra too. And that one too, there are charges that, But in the event where the relatives say that they don't have money, you have to transport the patient because you don't want to lose their lives. Sometimes we even get to the hospital, some relatives don't have money to even do folders for their patient. So the hospitals, when you don't do folder, sometimes starting treatment and others becomes very difficult. So sometimes we need to even form our own contribution because we want the patient to be taken care of. Because the patient cannot be in the ambulance for the rest. So sometimes we have to do some folders and for the especially road traffic victims who doesn't have any relative to accompany them. So it becomes sometimes an albatross around our neck and we need to provide some small money for them to do. So basically, that is what the perception out there is that when you call the ambulance, they have to say pay money before. There are other instances that normally happens, but the service is taking keen interest in that anytime there's any emergency, you are supposed to transport the patient. It's very, very important. As I speak to you, the Ministry of Energy has a partnership with GOL and ambulance service where they've provided fuel for all ambulances in the country for now. So that's what we are using basically.
All right.
Yeah.
It's getting very educative here. Don't forget to call. The phone lines are also open now, so the number will be displayed on your screens. The number is different from the WhatsApp number. If you do not want to call, you can send your comments to the WhatsApp number that's currently displayed on your screen as I speak, and send in your questions, send your comments. You can also join in the live stream on Facebook and on YouTube as well. Yes. Now we have our call number, so you can call and ask your questions here on the show. So, Mr. Daniel Asari, what is the typical response time for emergencies, maybe like a road traffic crash?
Okay.
See, I use the term.
Yeah. The international standard.
Yeah.
When there's an emergency, between 8 to 10 minutes, we are supposed to get there and take the casualties, mobilize them, and send them to hospital for further management. But in Ghana, let me use Accra as an example. We have a lot of challenges when it comes to our response time. So we are doing on an average of about 15 minutes. 15 minutes on average, which is still not up to the international standard, because some of the challenges will be heavy vehicular traffic, where you are coming and the roads they can't even open up because due to maybe the nature of the road. Some drivers will also say that, oh, where we are going, there's nobody in the ambulance, so they will not give us. Some even drivers want to even overrun us because they feel like their cars are more faster than us. So these are some of the challenges we are facing when it comes to responding to emergencies. So it also affects our response time, because if you are able to get there very early, we are able to also perform certain interventions that will, at the end of the day, save the life of the casualty.
So how are you able to prioritize care for maybe a crash victim or victims? Let's say it's a bus, and then how do you prioritize the care? Okay, so the road traffic crash may happen either a head-on collision or either a rollover. So as paramedics, we have been trained to look at our index of suspicion when it comes to road traffic crashes. So some casualties will be ejected from the vehicle. Others too will be stuck in the vehicle. Okay, so let's put a pin in that. So we have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning. You're welcome to the KOKO Digest Morning Show. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Okay, my name is Ismail Adam.
Okay. Please, what's your question?
Yes, mine is not a question, but I appreciate what the man is. I don't know the name, but I appreciate but I've been a victim once.
Okay.
Yeah, because one time I was supposed to be operated and for me to be transported from Winneba to Cape Coast. We called the ambulance driver, even for him to come and take me to Cape Coast. He said unless he received the money first before he transports me. Even for him to come out, for me to even do the payment, I have to take a taxi from Winneba to Cape Coast for that operation. We called the guy, he never came. So at times, some of them, we are all human. So at times, even you have to consider some things. Some of the drivers are evil, but some are not really trying at all. It's a taxi that has to transport me from Winneba Government Hospital to Cape Coast for me to be operated. So please, maybe kindly, they can do something about that one too.
Okay. Thank you so much. Pardon? Okay. Thank you so much for your comments. We really appreciate that. Yes, you wanted to speak to that.
So I think it's good that when we get feedback from the public in this regard, it also helps us in terms of quality improvement. But what I want to say is, let's say if you want to send a patient from Winneba to Cape Coast, the hospital has to make a call to Cape Coast that we have this particular patient. We want the patient to come to Cape Coast, and Cape Coast has to be ready to receive the patient. Because some instances, ambulances will come and the receiving facility is not ready to take the patient. So the moment you send the patient to Cape Coast and the hospital is not ready, it means either you have to move the patient to a different facility. So that one too also create a lot of challenges for us. So it's not like the ambulance coming to take you, but the only issue is when we are sending you, is the receiving facility ready to take? So sometimes once we don't confirm that the hospital is ready to pick you, sometimes we find it a little bit that because sometimes when the patient is in the ambulance and we have done all our management and the condition is deteriorating, he has to be in the hospital for further management. Yeah. So some of the challenges is the no bed syndrome and all those things. But for people asking for money and all those things, that's why I'm saying that those issues has to be reported.
Okay.
The appropriate action has to be taken.
I wanted to also ask that, is there a way we, the citizens who are trying to employ the services of the ambulance service, can report an incident based on the man's contribution?
Yeah.
The driver was saying that unless he receives the money, he's not going to. But then the number is a toll-free number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so 112. So how do we know that, okay, it is Mr. Felix Owusu, driver of this car, that is saying this, that, so because of him, I may not get my surgery. How then do we do
that? Even when the call is made, the call doesn't go straight to the ambulance station.
Okay.
The call will go through the dispatch center, and every region in Ghana have a dispatch center. So they will interrogate the call and ask where you are calling from, what condition is the patient and all those before they even make a dispatch. So the call does not even go straight to the the driver as the EMT driver. An ambulance, we don't have just drivers. All those people have been medically trained to also provide certain kind of care. So what I would say is, in order to improve, let's use our dispatch systems when it comes to, because we have numbers. We have numbers that when you need us, you call. Maybe as we go on, I'll put those numbers. And the numbers too, you can also report when you have issues. You have customer service and all those things.
Okay, so we have our third guest joining us, and he is Mr. Desmond Aka, the Divisional Officer Grade 2 and the head of the Public Relations of the Ghana National Fire Service. He's on the line with us, so we're going to be engaging with him. Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the KOKO Digest Morning Show.
I'm also grateful to be part of this show this morning, and thanks for having me.
All right. So, fire service. I mean, we've been seeing that a lot of citizens have a lot to say, and it's not necessarily in a good light. Can you shed some light on why it seems as though the fire service may not be working in the eyes of our citizens?
All right, thank you so much. A good morning to you, your guest, and then your cherished viewers. I think it is very wrong for Ghanaians to be telling us that we are not even satisfied with our role. What we do goes beyond just firefighting. Firefighting is just about 2%.
Okay.
In fact, when you check our Act 537, it gives us a lot of mandates, and key among the mandates is to create awareness on public safety, and then also ensure that such awareness creation are sustained so that people would prioritize their safety and then ensure that they do not get into harm's way. But be as it may, as humans as we are, there are certain situations that we don't have full control over, and therefore accidents, road crashes, and what have you also happen. And then per that same act, we are also mandated to offer rescue and evacuation services, and that is where we interface with our major stakeholders in the road safety industry, such as the ambulance, the police, the National Road Safety Authority, the BVLA, and the rest. Okay. So suffice to say that we have been working since 1963, even when we started as a fragmented fire brigade from the Port and Harbour, the major city council fire stations. We have grown and have become the Ghana National Fire Service. And I'm telling you,
I can say emphatically that we are active service in Ghana now. If you have been following us on our social media, you'll see the many works that we have been doing. In 2012, the Ghana Statistical Services published a survey that they did upon on our response time, and they came out with our response time that we were doing an average of 12 minutes. Currently, we are doing an average of 9 minutes. Even in most cases, we have responded to incidents where we have done less than 4 minutes. Some instances, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It's unfortunate that a lot of Ghanaians have turned a blind eye to the good works that we are doing, even under the circumstances that we find ourselves. And so our response time has improved. We are working very hard to be able to work towards the international standard of 4 to 5 minutes. And processes are underway. But you see, there are so many factors that affect our response time. In as much as we would wish that we will be present, our stations, our fire trucks, our accoutrements will be all over the country. Unfortunately, it is not so. We have a little over 285, a little over 285 stations across Ghana. And so that becomes a challenge. So if there's any road crash or fire related, then we have to move in. And then for that, in that particular location, we don't have the available functional fire tender or fire station. And it means that it is the nearest fire station that will be called in. And sometimes they will take a bit more time, let's say 10, 20 minutes or even an hour to even get to the scene. And that is where people do not understand. And we also in a situation where a lot of people play pranks with our emergency line, such that it denies the new people the opportunity to call us and to benefit from our services. Sometimes we have some nonchalant attitude of our road users, especially motorists, when they find it very difficult sometimes to give us right of way when we are responding to emergencies. Other times people call us and then they give us wrong addresses. I don't know why in this day and age where we can even make use of our Ghana, the school system, the GPS, and then the Ghana Post, the address system. They fail to give us locations like KOKO Rano, where the forest seller is when you get there, 10 right and all that. I mean, it doesn't help. And you would all bear with me that most of our roads are not in good shape. Therefore, they all account our inability to respond within the appreciable or acceptable time of between 4 or 5 minutes. So these are some of the challenges that affect our response time. But we, as it may, and as an emergency respondent, we want to assure the general public and the Ghanaian citizenry that we are very much poised to deliver on our emergency services anytime, any day. We run 24/7 service, and therefore it is not just about fire. When anybody falls in a well, it is our responsibility. When it happens to be on a height, we've had certain instances where people have gotten a trap on pylons and what have you. They want to end their lives and all that. We have intervened and I've saved such lives. And quite recently, on the Kumasi, Accra, Suhum, Kumasi Highway, we intervened and saved over 20 lives from a gory accident that happened on several locations along the Konongo, Kumasi stretch. We have also responded and saved countless number of lives. And to add to it, this year alone, from January to September, we have recorded a little over 420 road crashes incidents where 197 have resulted in fatalities, where we've also had casualties or injured persons recorded about 1,742 as compared to 415 for the same period last year, with 190 deaths and then 2,055 injury cases. So nobody can say that they are not happy with our services. It is just that they don't understand our work. They are not cooperating with us. They are not heeding to the safety messages that we are giving out to them. Even as there is a campaign that we have rolled out that we're going to collaborate with our major stakeholders, Ghana, National Road Safety, the ambulance, the police, the DVLA, and all the other stakeholders, to be able to churn out educational messages for our media space. We have one of the vibrant social media platforms where we'll be churning some of these campaigns there. So it worries us when people, upon all the sacrifices that we go through to save lives and salvage property, there is this perception that we are not doing anything. But I believe that the section of Ghanaians who have seen the good work that we're doing could attest to the fact that we are very much on course. Therefore, we are ever ready to respond to their emergencies.
Okay, so as you mentioned that you're going to be collaborating with other stakeholders, it brings me to my question. This goes to all three of you. So how do you coordinate with the various emergency services when there is a traffic crash, road crash, right? Road traffic crash.
All right, thank you.
When there's one. So, okay, Mr.
Yes.
Okay, please take
I
it.
would want to say that in an emergency situation like a road crash, we do a very effective coordination. You know, when we get to the scene, we are the first responders when it comes to road crashes because we have the training and then the specialized equipment to be able to come to the aid of victims who have been trapped. The key word here is victims who have been trapped and badly or seriously injured.
Okay.
Because of our speciality, we are able to, first of all, establish a command structure because we know that we don't work in isolation. And police would have to come in and then ensure that they control the traffic and then also control the scene so that bystanders and people who are not supposed to come into the hot zone do not interfere, because many a time we have seen that injured victims even do not recover or suffer from permanent disability, even when they recover from their injuries after being involved in an accident or a crash situation. And therefore, we coordinate in such a way that the police would do the traffic management so that there will not be further casualty or victims that will be created. And then also the scene is not intruded by these bystanders, so that it can give us the peace of mind to be able to go about our vehicle stabilization, because it depends on the situation or the nature of the crash. Maybe the vehicle may be turned on its side, it may be on its roof, or maybe standing but badly damaged. Therefore, we need to do stabilization so that those affected victims in those vehicles will not suffer any further injuries. Because if you don't do stabilization, there's a tendency that maybe a metal with a sharp end could even cut them, or a glass could even fall on them, or even pierce their body, or even cause further injuries. So we do the stabilization. Then we do what we call extrication. That is where our specialized equipment comes in, to be able to cut, create space, and then get out the victims who have been badly trapped with injuries as well. So in such instances, even when we are there alone, when we are able to secure the place with our cones and what have you, we have been trained in such a way that we can also perform first aid. So that when our brothers from the ambulance service also come in, then we hand over the casualties or the injured persons to them for further treatment and onward transportation to the hospital. So the coordination is very much important, and we do so with our command structure and our direct communication with our stakeholders, so that everyone knows the specific role to play, and so as to ensure successful crash scene and management. So the coordination has always been perfect. I remember quite recently the accident that happened along the Suhum highway, where we had to go and rescue 20 people. After that time, our Suhum fire engine was booked out of commission. Okay. But because of the effective coordination and then brotherliness and professionalism, our men from the Suhum fire station had to join the ambulance with their equipment to get to the scene and to save those savable lives. So if the coordination is not there, I don't think we'll be able to do this.
Okay.
And I believe that even as stakeholders, we are even much voice to even continue to collaborate more, to be able to save more lives and properties.
All right. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Daniel, so he mentioned an ambulance at the Suhum fire station.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, is it that we have, okay, yeah, you even mentioned that even your training in the early days started at the fire service fire academy.
Yeah.
So is there a link between the ambulance service and the Ghana National Fire Service?
Yeah, so as earlier on we treated, like the ambulance service started with firemen and with some civilians, but in terms of good collaboration, some of our stations too are at the fire station, so that kind of cordiality is there, because when it comes to emergencies or road traffic crashes, after extrication or when casualties are trapped and they have been extricated out, ambulance service, we take over from there. So we have a very cordial relationship with the fire service when it comes to road traffic crashes.
Okay.
But basically ours, in terms of the command and control, communication, and also triaging, treatment and transport. So ours is basically when we get the casualties, we need to be able to sort them out and identify those that we have to treat them on the scene. Those that, in terms of, we use a color coding note, red, gold, green, and black. The red is those who have severely injured. Those people had a head injury and other things. Then we have the yellow, and also the green mostly is the walking wounded. Those who normally will be shouting and making a lot of noise, but they are not that those people, we tag them green. And the black is those who we pay our assessment, we presume that they are dead. Then we transport them, and it's not every hospital that we transport. If it's head injury, we normally go to the tertiary facilities like Kolebu 37 Hospital, where they have the neurosurgeons and other severe fracture, like we have orthopedic surgeons that will take care of all those. So we also collaborate with the Ghana Health Service, and when it comes to treatment and of patients to the receiving facility for further management.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
So, Mr. Felix Owusu, being a rep from the National Road Safety Authority, has there been an instance where you have faced, or your institution has faced, a challenge in trying to coordinate with either the ambulance service or the National Fire Service, or both, at any point during a crash?
All right, thank you. So now at the National Road Safety Authority, so normally what we do normally we are not at the crash scene.
Okay.
Yeah, so most of the time you don't find us at it, because as you all know, the National Ambulance Service, the fire, they all use sirens, so they'll be able to get to the crash scene. But for us, because we do not use a siren, if for any reason we are close by when the crash occurs, then we can also assist and what the police do in trying to secure the place for them to work. But most of the time we also get the reports from these people, and that is, so ours is what we do is we do sometimes the after.
Okay.
So we are not mostly at the crash scene when it happens, or we don't get to the crash scene immediately as it happens. So like I mentioned, so sometimes you have to visit them at the hospitals and follow up on them and that. But when it happens and we also get calls, then what we do is, the only thing we do is also make phone calls, make sure the right people are sent to the scene.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'd like to say a big thank you to you, Mr. Desmond Aka. Please, are you still on the line, please?
Yes, please. I'm around.
Okay, so we have a lot more questions, but I think we would need to bring you here one of these days to join us in the studio. Then we have a full 1 hour with you. Would that be possible, please?
Yes, that is very much possible. But let me chip in this before I leave you.
Okay.
I was listening in from the beginning, and there is so much we can do as stakeholders to ensure that the crashes on our roads is minimized. So therefore, I would still want to emphasize that we would join our major stakeholders to roll out an intensive public safety awareness to be able to keep safe on our roads. And then also urge our law enforcement agencies in the road safety industry to also enforce our regulations. You know, there is this provision in the road safety regulation or road traffic regulation that mandates that every vehicle must have a functional portable fire extinguisher. And I think that some communications or some engagements have gone on between mine management and that of DVLA. We are going to pursue that and ensure that the right thing is done so as to safeguard lives and property and ensure that every vehicle in this country has an effective fire extinguisher, and therefore all motorists, including owners of vehicles and drivers alike, would also be given some form of training and education on how best to be able to utilize these fire extinguishers to douse fires that gut their vehicles. Because we have seen that a lot of these vehicles, when they are gutted by fire, sometimes these vehicle owners or drivers have these fire extinguishers sitting in their car, but they find it very difficult to deploy them effectively.
Yeah.
So that is the commitment as a service we want to give to the general public. We would go to the driver stations, the lorry parks, to engage them together with our stakeholders and ensure that that provision in that act, we have those effective fire extinguishers to ensure these motorists are safe. And at any point in time, when their vehicles are gutted, because of the knowledge they have received from us, they will be able to deploy the extinguishers effectively. So Ghanaians should have confidence in us. Our emergency number remains 192. The national emergency, which is the 112, is still available. We also have other hotlines that they can reach out to us at any point in time, and we will be glad to respond promptly when we have received their calls early enough.
All right. Thank you so much. This has been very informative, and we hope to have you very soon here in the studio with us. Do have a good day.
I'll be grateful. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So, while we wrap up quickly, we have a question here from my producer. Okay, so we have a question. I think there are two questions, but we started answering one. This says, "Hello, KOKO Digest. I've been following this program for almost 3 months. God bless you guys. Thank you so much." And so the person has two questions. We started one, which was the prioritizing patient care. And you've mentioned the triaging as well. So the second question is, what strategies do you use to reduce patient mortality? And this is Mrs. Ofori from Cape Coast. So let's quickly answer how you reduce the mortality rates, and then we wrap up.
Okay, so what I want to say is, as EMTs or paramedics of the ambulances, our main objectives in terms of road traffic crashes is to make sure that we are able to save lives as possible. And when you look at our ambulance, the ambulance have a lot of life-saving equipment that can save life. We have the oxygen, we have the cardiac monitors that we use to take care of all the vitals. We have a nebulizer in the ambulance. We have other ventilators and other immobilization like the spine board and all those equipment. So when there are accidents and we get there, we make good use of all our equipment available. That will be able to reduce the mortality. And the service has also put pragmatic steps in place that recently we have activated our advanced life support ambulance, where that one we do more invasive procedures. And because we receive about 26 ambulances from Dubai, and from the Ministry of Health and support from the World Bank, so that every region have that kind of ambulance. So that one is a form of rapid response. So in terms of how to respond to emergencies, we need to improve on our response time. And we also want the public to have confidence to call the ambulance, because it's better to be in the ambulance than to be in a taxi. Because if you are in the ambulance, your survival rate is higher as compared to you are in a taxi. And also, the public should desist from prank calls, which has been affecting us. So once we are able to do a lot of more education in schools, in church. We have been doing it. But we need to intensify those so that the public will be aware. So before the ambulance comes, because of the first aid we have given to the general, they will be able to do certain maneuvers, opening the airway, putting patient on recovery position, controlling bleeding. So when these things happen, before the ambulance comes, we'll be able to take over and send them to, and thereby reducing the mortality rate. Because and also I want the general public to know that ambulances don't carry the dead. So they only call us when somebody is sick or injured, not the person is dead. Because no hospital will be ready to take brought in dead patient. Because they also don't want to reduce their to increase their mortality rate. So basically we don't want patients that will be sending or casualties will be dying in the ambulances, but we want to send them to hospital whilst they are alive. So that's what I want to say.
Thank you so much. I think I wanted to suggest that maybe the National Fire Service and Ambulance Service should start thinking of training taxi drivers, because aside, these services, they are one of the very common points of contact for these emergencies as well. So maybe if you train them in one or two...
we do it, but we need to intensify it. So there's arrangement with DVLA that is ongoing, so that we can train the drivers and also on certain basic first aid measures. And also we have been doing some lorry stations as part of our 20th anniversary. So we need to do more education for the public to know about what we do as ambulance service, not to be carrying the dead. But the sick and the injured. That's what I want to say.
Yes, let me even add to that. I think even the National Road Safety Authority, I remember for some years, we identified this as one of the areas. So there was a plan in place to even train those people along the crash-prone areas, so that in such in case of such emergency, they'll be able to at least provide some first aid before they even arrive at the scene.
Okay, then that's good. So, as we wrap up, I'd like to take your brief closing remarks to the public. But this, I think we need to make this into a series. So maybe my producers will discuss with you after, and then we'll have adequate time to go into everything that we need to talk about. So yes, your closing remarks, please.
Yeah, so at the National Road Safety Authority, as we always say, in fact, and now also considering the fact that we are heading, getting closer to the Christmas and also the elections, all what we can, tell the public, the motoring public or road users in general, is that we should all be disciplined on our roads, whilst we also intensify education, and also asking the MTTDs to also enhance their enforcement. So that, and with all this put together, and then the road agencies also, please, we are begging you, please help maintain our roads. I know we are doing well now. They are doing some maintenance works on parts of our road, but anytime we send our reports, please act on them quickly for us. We know you have challenges, but try and do better for us so that Ghanaians will have good roads. And whilst the roads are being fixed, let's also control our speeds. Because one problem we identified is once the roads are made flat or smooth, that is where we also create another problem by people speeding. So please, let's always maintain or travel within the posted speed limits on our roads to reduce the numerous and needless crashes we have, to put more pressure on the ambulance service and the Ghana National Fire Service. So we commend them for the great work they are also doing to help reduce the mortality rates. If without them, I'm sure the numbers would be recording in excess of about some thousands that we don't even want to know. So I want to thank them for the work they did. And then we'll always collaborate with them to ensure safety in the country.
Thank you very, very much. So, Mr. Daniel, your closing remarks, please.
So, I want to use this platform to thank Clock TV for giving us this opportunity to come and share our ideas when it comes to emergencies in regards to road traffic crashes. What I would say is we will continue to strengthen our stakeholders in terms of communication and coordination and command and control with the emergency services. So the emergencies should be reported as soon as it happens from the general public. They shouldn't wait. Once there's any accident, they should be able to call our emergency line, maybe the 112, which is for the general. So, and once they come, they call, we'll be able to respond. But they shouldn't say, oh, when you call the ambulance, they will not come. But they should, because a lot of people are using the services. So whether you are home, wherever you are, and you need the services of the ambulance, you should be able to call us and we'll come. And we will also continue to do our public sensitization in schools and other places.
Okay.
And even if opportunity is given to us on Clock TV, we'll come and train on first aid,
okay,
as we have been doing in other media houses.
Okay.
Practical sessions so that people will start learning certain basic tips when they are in emergency. They will apply it as a first responder before the ambulance service comes so that we will take care of them. So we just want to encourage the general public, as we are going towards elections and Christmas, their safety is very, very paramount. So they should observe all safety protocols when they are driving. They should avoid drink driving, over speeding and all those things. And anytime the ambulance comes, they should give us way. They will not be able to determine whether somebody is in the ambulance or not. And we will also be very magnanimous so that we don't abuse the use of siren, but for patient care.
Okay.
So our motto is timely care saves life.
Okay.
So maybe I will leave our numbers with you so that you
sure, you can call them out.
Okay, so our number, that's the 112, is for all emergencies, but we have other numbers like 0558 201496, 0558 201496, 0302 690722, 0299 375694. So these numbers too can also be called when you are calling the 112, and there's a lot. You can try these options, and help will definitely arrive. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you too. Thank you for joining us here, and a big thank you to our cherished viewers for staying with us. Thank you so much for your patience. I know you have your program you want to watch after the KOKO Digest Morning Show, and we've eaten into your time. Thank you so much for staying with us throughout. And of course, again, thank you to our cherished guests and the guests from the Ghana National Fire Service. A big thank you to our management and production team, everybody who joined hands to make this show a success. We are most grateful. And as the month is ending, a new month is coming. We're getting close to elections. Please do well to take care of yourself. Adhere to the rules. Please don't involve yourself in anything that will cause any more crashes. We're trying to keep safe and stay alive. So do have an amazing weekend ahead. We'll see you bright and early on Tuesday morning.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.